you wanna trap like
Live from America's home for motorsports, welcome race fans one and all back to Green Flag TV, where tonight we get set to kick off race number 4 of the All-Stream Media Cup Series. Welcome to your running of the Bring Back the Bus Stop 115 here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway and the Charlotte Roval. It is going to be a fun race for all involved here tonight as we'll be looking to continue our way through the L-TAC All-Stream Media Cup Series with the first road course race on the season. My name is Olawempo, bringing you all of the coverage here tonight from start to finish of what should no doubt be a thrilling race indeed. We looked at the championship standing, see how everything's lining up entering the race here tonight. Joseph stays on top entering this race. Austin Gassion back in that number 2 position as the championship continuing to slowly but surely shake on up as the season moves further along. Brannigan, Dingler, LaFrance rounding out the top 5. Ryan Dingler becoming the first driver to break up the Eastern Stars Motorsports 1 through 4, and he is leading the charge for Badger Racing as he tries to work his way closer and closer, sitting just 6 points off of the current points leader entering the race tonight. As it stands, we are in the midst of qualifying, but nobody is currently out on the racetrack. It's a difficult road course, though. There's not a lot when it comes down between yourself and the walls when you get down to a oval road course hybrid such as the Charlotte Roval, and you can see overlooking that backstretch chicane. No doubt going to be a trouble spot for many today. Will be that backstraight of a chicane I was kind of keeping an eye on throughout practice, and as always, the backstretch turns always seem to be the ones that tend to spark the most trouble when it comes to getting drivers around this little road course hybrid here in this one. But again, with qualifying underway, but nobody as of right now on the racetrack, we're going to take a jump back, and we'll be back in just a few minutes with your starting grid. You're watching the L-TAC All-Stream Media Cup Series on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Just 10 seconds remain in qualifying. Out of the about 25 starters, only 14 have opted to put down time. So with all of that said and done, we're ready to show you how everything is going to line on up as we'll get set to go racing for 50 laps of racing action around this 2.2-mile road course. So as we get set to load everything up, the drivers that will be starting at the front of this field, you'll have the likes of Ryan Dingler for Badger Racing, Spencer Ray for All-American Motorsports will also line it up on the front row. Holden McGill and Connor LaFrance will be in third and fourth for row number 2. Anthony Musati and Mark Brannigan Jr. back on row 3. Nate Brooker will be taking his British Bomber machine all the way up to start in 7th. 8th place will hold the likes of Barrett Morton. Barrick up over Team Watson will be in 9th with Kyle Green for Dirty South Racing down in 10th. Tyler Grinnell will be in 11th with Austin Gassione way back in 12th. Uncharacteristic qualifying there for Gassione, who we've seen at the front of the field for a good chunk of qualifying sessions so far throughout the season. George Rinkin making his first L-TAC start, making his L-TAC debut here in this one. Will be starting 13th with Devin Pirog in 14th. Frank Flores is in 15th with Matt Sherry in 16th. We're now stepping to drivers that have not put down qualifying laps. Brad Cross and Josh McDougall back in 17th and 18th. Cross also making his L-TAC debut tonight. Grant Peterson and Brian Huntley Jr. will be in 19th and 20th. Steph Purcell and Lauren McFadden in 21st and 22nd. Chris Campbell, Aaron Bradford, and Justin Wilson will be rounding out the 25-car field here tonight as we will get set to go racing. Want to, of course, thank Allstream Media for being the title sponsor of the 5th season of competition for the L-TAC Racing League Cup Series. Allstream Media is a small media platform specializing in photography and live streaming, mainly focused around no-prep drag racing, and soon will be expanded to dirt racing, NASCAR, superbike racing, and more. Their mission is to provide smaller racing venues with the opportunity for public exposure and help keep small-town racing circuits and also small-town drivers doing the things that they love. You find out more by visiting them on their Facebook page down below. So with all of that said and done, looking like Grant Peterson may be making the start from pit road as he will not make it to the call. Everyone else has already put themselves up into the front of this field, and we are just about ready to get this show underway. So we'll look now forward into how we'll see this race pan out, as sure enough, Peterson will be starting this race down from the pits. And you know what? We got a good little while here before we work things around onto the racetrack. So see if we can't find anybody interesting to talk to in the few minutes that we're going to be standing by and waiting to get this race underway. And you know what, why not? Let's, there's not even a few drivers. We got a very low driver count at the moment from our little Discord server that we got going on here. Not a lot of drivers are looking to be giving us chats here tonight. So it's not too busy. It's busy out there on the racetrack, obviously, but it's been interesting to see so many drivers also focused up on where they want to find themselves throughout the course of this race. Why not? Let's talk to one of the drivers. I'll be starting further down the field. We'll see if we can't dial up the driver of that number 36 car, Devin Pirog, who will be starting to the outside of row number 7 here tonight. As see if we can't get a hold of Devin for a quick chat here. Devin, this is Noel Ramble up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, copy.
Well, we're getting set to go Green Flag Racing. You're right in the mid-pack. How is that looking for you, and what are the goals on that number 36 car before the end of the night?
The goal is just to take it easy. I'm not gonna push too hard. Not gonna push too easy. Just take it easy.
Is that going to be the strategy then, to surviving throughout the course of this race, or are you looking even more to strategy when we get around to that halfway point?
I'd say if I'm up there, I'll push it. But if by the halfway point, if I'm not doing too good, I'm just gonna relax.
Well, wish you the best of luck then when we go racing here in North Carolina. Good luck out there tonight as we get set for the start. Devin Pirog joining us up here from the number 36 Discord Toyota Camry. Will be starting 14th in this field as he is working through the backstretch chicane along with a good chunk of the other drivers now, as you see everybody else funneling through a good chunk of the outside line, just cutting across the chicane. Fair enough. makes sense, as we're going to be setting ourselves up for what will no doubt be a fairly interesting opening series of laps here, and I'm expecting chaos to be the order of the day, as it so often is in the L-TAC All-Street Media Cup Series. As always, we're happy that you're joining us here on a Friday night as the pace car pulls down and into pit road. 50 laps of racing action about to kick off as pole sitter Ryan Dingler leads us through the front stretch chicane into the restart zone. Green flags out. We're underway in North Carolina. Looking all sorted throughout this field. Trouble for Holden McGill. He's been spun around middle of the circuit at the exit of turn one. He'll let the whole field by. Looking like not a lot of damage. He's not the only one. Brannigan also going around deeper in the back. He'll tumble down the order way down to the last place, second to last place really. And at the moment, it is Dingler who leads the way as we work through this infield section of the race course. Spencer Ray trying to tuck up right behind him as this field working its way quickly around back to NASCAR 1 as Anthony Bussati side slaps the outside wall, working back into NASCAR 1 and 2, headed up for turn 11, which will be on the backstretch. Kyle Green, Bear Morton side by side as they work out of that chicane there. And Bradford now being spun around, and that is coming back onto the oval. So bad news for him as we work into that back straightaway chicane. And here we go. Pirog getting into the back of Brooker, and McDougall behind going straight on. But the rest of this field able to siphon through for the most part. And it's looking like a bit of a messy lap in the midfield. But overall, a caution-free opening lap from the Charlotte Roval. We'll get a look back on what happened to a few of the drivers. First, Holden McGill. As McGill spun around, exiting turn one, I'm willing to bet caught too much of the curbs on the left-hand side. And, well, no, just looped the back end. He was already getting out of shape on the entrance. And then, of course, Brannigan, just seconds later, having this moment as this was working around through turn three. And same story, just got loose, kicks the back into the 46 Hooters machine around and spins it off. Keeps it out of the guardrail, though, and a great job for him on that one. That was quickly followed up by Aaron Bradford, having this slide, and this is working back to the oval and nearly collected Justin Wilson. He spun that off way early. He actually did find the tires on the inside and did collect Justin Wilson, who was left with nowhere to go. So all of that is now set in stone as this field is working its way through. You see Lauren McFadden in the Caterpillar, Charger, quote-unquote, really a Mustang, picking his way up and around Pirog as McFadden will start to work towards the backstretch. You got Brian Huntley Jr. in the mix here as well, squeezing in the number 36 car down on the low side. One by one, drivers work their way through, and well, they say the opening lap is always the best chance on road courses for a full course yellow. Looking like we won't be having that here in this one. Good chunk of the leading pack is already broken apart. You're looking at George Rincon at the moment, trying to keep Matt Cherry at bay. Cherry charging at number 84. Rincon trying to find a way to get around Kyle Green. Will poke to the inside, and Green will be split three wide down the front stretch. Entering turn one, Cherry fires around the top, and he's in too deep. Cherry strikes the wall, rebounds back into Frank Flores, and that's a big mess down at turn number one. As the field going to try to work its way through, Frank Flores got collected, Brannigan got collected, and Cherry will flick spin the back end of that number 84 car around and get back rolling. Trouble from Bear Guppold, goes off, keeps it out of the tire barriers. That was down at turn 6, possibly turn 5. So again, troubles early on as we will now look to Bear Morton and Dave Brooker scrapping it out for 6th on the racetrack. Brooker clears from Morton. That gives us a chance now to look back at what happened here. Matt Cherry fired his way around the top. We'll look at this one from the air. Oh, it was a big hit for Kyle Green. That's what sent Cherry in deep, and then watches the whole field, bottles it up behind. There was Flores getting into it. I think the 69 got into it a bit there. You saw Brannigan have to check up. As a good chunk of this field is starting to break apart. The top three still separated by only about 1 second's worth. Dingler, Ray, LaFrance all tucked line astern, and trouble. Frank Flores forced to take the tow to pit road. Oh, wow, that 88 car is hurting big time. So something of some description has happened to Frank Flores there, and we're not sure what happened to kick that one off. We'll get a look on Grant Peterson, and it was even well before that. I'm willing to bet potentially got that damage from turn one. We'll take another look back on board with Flores, and we'll watch this, and we'll see. Yeah, that would be where he got the damage from. I didn't realize it was that hard of a hit. It didn't look like that hard of a hit, but there you go. Holden McGill, after spinning on the opening lap, has broken his way back into the top 10. Fights around George Rinken. As McGill will be up into 10th. Starting to climb his way through the field. George immediately put back under fire by Kyle Green as Green shoots to the inside of the 15. Puts Green now up into the 11th spot, and Rinken starting to slip back as Lord McFadden looks to attack down the inside, and that's going to get tight, and a bit of contact. Constantina as they accordion up in the backstretch chicane. McFadden back into Pirog, back into Brannigan. As they all stacked up through turns 11 and 12. Evan Pirog wants to move. He's trying to fight his way to get around Lord McFadden as we'll jump hard on the binders. And whoa, boy, and that's going to be a slowdown penalty for sure for Devin Pirog, no doubt about it. As, oh boy, I don't think Brannigan realized contact. They go 3 wide in the turn one as the 69 Brian Huntley Jr. goes through, lock up into the opening corner, and Huntley able to go 2 for 2, picks up spots from Brannigan and from Pirog. It's a chaotic opening series of laps here as we'll continue to steadily march our way through. Brian Huntley Jr. and Mark Brannigan Jr. still running nose to tail by about 0.3 of a second. And as it stands, Huntley showing no signs of yielding any more than Brannigan is. So Brannigan's going to have to find his way up there a little bit more if he wants to really go to make that move. But then back to the top 3 again, still separated by a second. The top 3 have not been able to break apart from one another. Ryan Dingler leads from Spencer Ray from Connor LaFrance. LaFrance continuing to march his way steadily through more and more. Kyle Green going in way deep at the backstretch chicane, but after taking the slowdown penalty, we'll be back in smooth sailing as the top 3 continue to hightail to the way, and yeah, this is going to be all by its lonesome. No help inflicted, just break in too late, and oh, actually, hello. Oh, he has had a spin right on the exit. Bit of a recovery there, but not ideal. Oh, Spencer Ray clipping the outside wall. That one was working back around through turn 8. So we thunder around to the NASCAR 1 and 2. Otherwise known in this instance as turns 9 and 10. And then jumping back on the brakes for the backstretch cane for turns 11 and 12. Wonder how long it'll be before we see Dingler lose out properly to the likes of Spencer Ray as Matt Cherry forced to take a tow to pit road. Seems like this battle isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So here's what happened to Cherry. As he, I think, had an incident into turn 1. Oh yeah, huge lockup Chase Elliott style and goes in hard, and that's going to break his car. And oh, then he got tagged by McDougall and put into the wall, and he was forced to take the tow from there. So game over for Matt Cherry. Now, even bigger question, how about Rinken, Huntley, and Brannigan all still tucked up, line astern behind Laura McFadden and Kyle Green in the fray as well, just trying to hang on. George Rinken really being thrown into the hornet's nest right now, as this is the most chaotic section of racetrack we got at the moment. Huntley breaks around Rinken around the inside of turn 2. He'll have the outside for 3, but he's already clear. Brannigan trying to find his way the long way around 4 and 5. He'll work his way through, and now Kyle Green sizing up his own attack down to the turn 6. Trying forward, Rinken gives him the room and gives it up for Kyle Green, so Rinken will lose 3 spots in just half a lap. Spencer Ray still closing meanwhile on Ryan Dingler. The gap there close to about 0.2 of a second for the lead. Spencer Ray and Brad Cross having a bit of a close shave as they work the backstretch into turn. Whoa, wow, big lockup for Cross as he went in way deep and cut across the chicane. Purcell lucky to miss that. Cross, by the way, running, he scored as a 27, running with a 18 on the car, so he'll make sure I know. I imagine he'll have that rectified by next week, as we saw Spencer Ray try to attack Dingler through the opening sections of racetrack. Wasn't able to get around him fully. Spencer Ray will keep on keeping on. Although losing out a good bit on this lap, this time by for lap number 8 as he falls back into the clutches of Connor LaFrance. First, second, and third, packed up line astern. Whoa, bit of a bobble that time by for Dingler. Nearly lost the back end through turn 1 and now drifting wide into turn 2. He tries to get himself sorted. Trouble in the bus stop for Huntley. Brian Huntley Jr. Spinning his number 69 car around. All by himself, deep on the brakes, chasing Brannigan into hot and pops the curb and goes straight on, and he will tag the wall. Right on board. Right into the Trilogy signage, so that will cost Huntley a good few positions. Grant Peterson, by the way, is down and out of the race. He mentioned he might be taking the tow early on, so Grant Peterson down and out. We still have 20 cars standing on the lead lap. Ooh, LaFrance kicking the back end that out that time by as he chases after the battle for the lead. Looking down to duels elsewhere, how about Anthony Musatti and Baron Morton sitting just behind Nate Brooker. Brooker, a driver as well that has been trying to find some better results as of late. The number 3 car doesn't ever tend to have things go his way, but he is certainly trying for it here in this one as he continues to work through the infield section. Through Musatti in hot pursuit, and don't forget Baron Morton right behind. And how about Holden McGill? The driver of the number 21 car was sitting way down the field. Got spun around and on lap 1 fell to 24th. He's already up to 8th in just these first 10 laps. So McGill has been slowly but surely climbing his way back through the order, trying to regain lost time, and is now chasing after Baron Morton just up the road. As now Brad Cross allowing Chris Campbell through. Looks like he's had some problems. On board with Brad as this is working into turn 1. Oh, into deep, and well, it doesn't find the Thomas Berries. He's able to get himself sorted. Then Matt Sherry sliding off on a very lazy spin at turn 7. Kyle Green trying to break around Laura McFadden in the battle for 12th. And McFadden, though, fighting this one back against Green as we work to the front stretch chicane. Oh, boy. getting a bit hot and heavy as they work through the front straightaway chicane. McFadden tried to go for the over-under. Nothing doing, though. Kyle Green maintains his run in 12. And he will take that spot in force down into turn 1. And Dingler and Ray still bunched up with the two of them as well. And I feel like this is one of those battles that will not go anywhere until we are in the closing stage of this race, or maybe when we get around to pit stops. The Missouri native still chasing after Dingler. You know, Ryan Dingler, he's never been a driver that's been known to yield too often in pursuit of these spots, so I'm expecting Dingler to fight this one right through to the bitter end. Fights for the lead are on. You've got that big battle for 6th. You've got this battle between Barry Gupple and Mark Brannigan Jr. for 10th. Further down the pack as well, sitting separated by 0.2 of a second. And then there's Nate Brooker letting Musati through into turn 1, and McGill will break clear as well. McGill, though, immediately to the inside of Musati at turn 3, and McGill breaks into the top 5. Fight for the lead. Spencer Ray finds the inside of Ryan Dingler through turns 9 and 10. Down into turn 11, Dingler trying to fight back to the bottom of the bus stop chicane. Can't get there. Spencer Ray maintains. And could that be game over now as Ryan Dingler trying to fight back moves to the top of 13 and 14. And into 15, 16, and 17. Cannot find the way around. So Ray will maintain his run for the lead, and it came in the way of Dingler scraping the outside wall out of turn 10. And that allowed for Spencer Ray to break clear. Now they're in a huge batch of lap traffic. And we'll see if Dingler can maybe use this traffic as a bit of a pick here to try to fight his way to get back around Dingler. At the moment, they're trying to lap Chris Campbell in that number 68. Although it will end up playing against Dingler as he'll be interrupted by lap traffic, and that sends Spencer Ray well clear enough to believe this race. Still got other battles though, particularly you've got Uphold and Brannigan, who are seen right now in the scrap for positions of their own. And as I say that battle is going to get split apart as Uphold slips a bit further back. And how about deeper in the pack? Nate Brooker, well, more towards the midfield, I should say. Nate Brooker and Bear Morton about 3/4 separated. They got Aaron Bradford between them now. And then even further back, Brian Huntley Jr., Devin Pirog. Still locked in combat as well for 14th. So like I was saying, battles all the way throughout the racetrack. You see Frank Flores back onto the race course after having to take a faster pair. He is just trying to survive this race and maybe pick up some extra spots as drivers eliminate themselves. And now interrupting the fight between Ryan Huntley Jr. and Devin Pirog. As Pirog hard on the brakes, trying to keep it out of Huntley. Frank's not moving out of the way either for this pairing, and hey, nothing says he has to, but that can't be doing Huntley any sort of favors here, as he's definitely being held up by that 88 car. We'll see how Huntley navigates this, as I think he's going to have to rely on getting a better run than Frank through some of these runs if he wants to try to find a way around. Bear Morton finding himself under 5 from Tyler Greneau. Greneau fighting it around the outside. Catching Aaron Bradford. Greneau forced to yield as Bear Morton will take that to the inside. And now Green is let through by Barrett Uphold. Give 11th to that number 18 car. The real number 18 car, at least. Devin Pirog slow on the racetrack as he is having to let a huge chunk of drivers through, and I'm willing to bet he has a slowdown penalty of some sort. Take a look. Oh, way and hot, and just cuts right across the chicane. I think he realized he wasn't going to make that corner, so he gassed it up to avoid tripping over somebody on corner entry, which fair play, but it does mean he's got a hefty penalty to serve now. That's going to cost him several spots. Kyle Green moving... Oh, wow! Moved the 84 out of the way, and immediately after, the 84 car retaliating. Kyle Green will get around McFadden, and this is about to get ugly. What in the world was that all about? As that was Matt Cherry just running over Kyle Green. Get a look at that one again, because I'm not sure what to make of that quite. This is going to be with the back of Matt Cherry here. Now this is, you can see Green is really, Cherry's really slowing Kyle Green up here, and Kyle Green's in an active battle with Barrett Uphold, remember, right? So this is important for Green here to make up these positions. Green will try to find the long way to get around Bradford. Gives him the nudge there. He's saying, hey, I'm here. Let me through. Oh, Uphold tanks the wall right behind. And then Green finally gets impatient, moves him out of the way, and then Cherry, wow, just sent it right in. That's cut and dry, if you ask me. And then, oh boy, seconds later, Matt Cherry with this moment with Kyle Green as they come together again. And oh boy! Hard hit into the outside wall will send Cherry to pit road. I think everything coming to blows. Just a few seconds prior, Aaron Bradford having this off at the front stretch chicane, hopping across the curbs, and whoa boy, slams the outside wall. And then McFadden, as you see Cherry just sent it in. I'm not sure what entirely to make of that. I want to get one more look at this, and this is slow motion. Cherry can't really turn, but it looks like he just throttles up, and it's not pleasant. Not pleasant. Not pleasant at all. Yet another bout of drama rising in the series here, as that'll no doubt be looked at post-race, I'd imagine. Oh boy. Kyle Green had another off, and this was a while later. And I'm thinking this is all by himself. I think he's got a slightly broken car, though, as he just drifts it wide. And that may well have ruined Green's race and his car. Kyle Green now finds himself in a battle with Brian Huntley Jr. Looking like Kyle Green will be able to hold his own as we'll turn eyes towards Grinnell and Morton. These drivers had a bit of a scrap for the 8th spot a little while earlier, but now Barrett Morton looks like he's trying to run Grinnell back down. And trouble McFadden. McFadden sliding off circuit at turn 6. No hard, no foul. Lose a few seconds, otherwise keeps it on the racetrack. Getting closer and closer to halfway. Pit strategies will no doubt be starting to play into the minds of some of these drivers before too long as time moves through. Still seeing that Spirit Crest Digital can catch the DeWalt Mustang just up the road. The Kentuckian doing a good job so far on just maintaining his ground. He He may be down one spot, yes, but I mean, that's not bad when you consider the overall arc of how this race has gone so far and how chaotic it's been. Charlotte Roval often is. It invites drama at a very compact road course. I mean, you got 2.2 miles crammed into the infield of a 1.5-mile oval. You're going to have some run-ins pretty quickly at a track that compact, and we're definitely seeing that sort of action here tonight. Gray and Dingler continue to pull away from LaFrance and more behind, but still within half a second of each other. And this, again, looking like it won't be a fight that's settled anytime soon. I'm thinking pit stops. We might see them break apart for the first time, realistically, all race long. How about Stephen Purcell and Chris Campbell as well? These have been two drivers that have been kind of going back and forth. They're both sitting a lap down at the moment, fighting for 17th. But again, looking like Campbell starting to slowly break clear. And now, Brannigan getting involved in this battle here for 8th as he'll break up Greneau and Morton, fights his way through to 9th. Remember, Brannigan was also the second car that spun on lap 1 of this race, dropping him down to last. So he is, like Holden McGilbin, on a steady charge through this field, trying to regain lost time. Brannigan has been doing a fine job of that so far as he'll continue to track up to the back bumper of Tyler Greneau. I'm willing to bet he's going to get around him before the end of lap 21, maybe even this very lap here. Look at how much he's closed in such a short time. He's down to 0.3 of a second. He had over a second to reel in at the top of the lap. Big walk over Purcell just up the road as your three-car pack siphons through the backstretch chicane at 11 and 12. No, might not get him this time by as Greneau again is looking to put that foot down. Now remember, these are Eastern Stars Motorsports teammates, Greneau and Brannigan. That could also prove interesting to see how they're going to work with each other. Josh McDougall taking a bit of an awkward line. Whoa, boy! Runs into the side of Greneau, I do believe, and that will check him up right into Brannigan, who cuts him a break. But for how long is Brannigan to the inside? Steals away 8th spot down in the turn 3. Pretty good line there from the 46 car to get the over-under sorted on Greneau. Brannigan's charge to the field continues. "20 laps down, 30 to go." This race ticking by in a hurry here. I mean, we're not even a half hour in and already just 5 laps away from the halfway mark, and that will be the end of the stage as well. Don't forget, we got that stage that comes at lap 25, and oh, now I remember what I was forgetting. I forgot to mention the winner of who that lucky draw was. I mentioned that at the very top of the race. Number was 7, so whoever it was that had started in 7th spot at the top of the race tonight will find himself with an extra 3 bonus points if he can get to the win. But right now, that's not happening. Spencer Ray and Ryan Dingler are charging away in their battle for the lead. Still got Greneau and Morton tucked up line astern as now that Brannigan's not interfering. It's nothing to stop them from going to war as they fight around Stephen Purcell. And Chris Campbell now just up the road. Trouble, Aaron Bradford spun and looks like stalled. That's about turn 8. Oh boy, rejoined the racetrack, immediately cuts it back hard right to avoid rejoining in front of these guys. Bradford will rejoin the pack. And this is what happens to Bradford as, oh, woo. I lost the back end and just took a really wild spin off and into the grass. Checking in on the battle for 6th, Anthony Musatti going up against Nate Brooker. As Brooker, another driver who has been trying to put in the work to reel in Anthony Musatti, and currently sits in the number 7 spot for the English native. Michelle takes it into pit road as Grinnell and Morton again still locked in that dogfight. And it's not a battle we can really break away from. It's the closest one on the racetrack by far. Only a quarter of a second separating these two. They're so evenly matched, though, as it stands on the Roval, that neither one of them is able to get a leg up on the other one way or the other. It looks like Morton's got all the advantage in some of these slower corners, but the problem is they're not able to really make moves in these slower corners. So it's a huge struggle for Morton to keep close during these faster sections of racetrack, and that's what's allowed this battle to stem out as long as it has. Musatti gets checked up by a lap car, Justin Wilson. But Wilson moves aside, gives Musatti some room to work with. Nate Brooker had to take the long way around, so that interrupts the battle for the number 6 position. And now that will just leave this battle for the lead. Ray and Dingler side by side as they got checked up by Huntley. And Dingler back through to the lead on lap 23. Great drive there for Dingler. Read that room perfectly. Whoa, look out! Spencer Ray! All sorts of out of shape, and Dingler's not going to be happy with Huntley slowing these guys up. And he knows with how aggressive Spencer Ray can be, he's got to get through and fast. Kyle Green has spun a turn 1 right in front of this battle. Heads up as he'll rejoin the circuit. And the battle for the lead continues. Finally, Dingler finds the inside of Huntley, but Huntley pinching him in. Not looking to give him any room to work with. And now Spencer Ray will have to fight around Huntley as well, and that will finally give Dingler some breathing room. Take a look. Kyle Green just lost it into turn 1. Picked up the curve, and when it came down, the back end just slides on him, and he did a good job to kind of get that thing turned out of the way. Must have been a hairy moment there for that 18 car. And now just behind, Huntley under fire by McFadden. The 82 car and Kyle Green both trying to fight their way around. That's why Huntley wasn't willing to let them go so easily, because he's in a battle of his own. Chris Campbell to pit road. McFadden now trying to fight the long way around. Tell you what, that 82 car really putting on the pressure, but he is in too hot into the front stretch chicane. Stacks him up and towards Kyle Green. We start the final trip around in the opening stage of this race. So Spencer Ray trying to go for a stage win and get the maximum number of points possible. How desperate will he be to try to attack Dingler to do it? Working out of turn 8, through 9, and then to 10. Jumping on the brakes, no dive bomb from Spencer Ray. You wonder if Ray is maybe thinking long term and giving the stage up here just so we can try to set him up for the final sprint near the end. Battles on for the stage 1 win as Dingler and Ray both lunging into the final chicane, and it will be Ryan Dingler taking the stage. Ray forced to settle for second. Battle Butler friends down to third as now Austin Gassione will make that run for fourth. Holden McGill, Anthony Russotti, Nate Brooker, Mark Brannigan Jr., Tyler Grinnell, and Bear Morton will be the confirmed drivers getting points as a result of being the only drivers that are on the lead lap, so they're the only ones capable of taking that. As here's Justin Wilson having a bit of an off. That's at turn, I believe, 6, sorry. Comes back on track, and then you had also seen Laura McFadden got overtaken here. Well, he passed Brian Huntley, who went in deep. Then Kyle Green made a pass around the outside, and that was coming around through 14 and 15 as well. Good drive there for Kyle Green. Secures the move and chops off Huntley as a result into the front stretch chicane. Battle's not over yet, though, as now Kyle Green to the inside of McFadden to the backstretch chicane. Again, deep on the brakes. Oh, and now McFadden and Huntley getting jacked up through turns 11 and 12. As again, it's a physical race today. Chris Campbell having a crash at turn 4. Loops the back end and spins it around. Oh, he has tagged the wall, and he opted to take the tow from there. Josh McDougall having a wreck in or around turn 1 as well. Oh, overtaken by Dingler, overtaken by Ray. Went in hard, and then, oh, just lost the back end. I think got a bit crossed up. Huntley, Rinkin, McFadden, Flores all in the pit road as well. So the pit cycle starting to kick off from the Charlotte Roval. It's a good race we've had so far today. I mean, this has been non-stop entertainment, and Bear Morton going to go for the undercut on Tyler Grinnell. Ducking in with Brad Cross. George Rinkin in for a long time, stopped in his box, and I think he may very well have been penalized. The battle for the lead stays out for one more. It's been now over half the race, and the battle for the lead has never been over a second, which really goes to show just how competitive it's been. Bradford has found the barriers somewhere as he is forced to take the tow. Take a look. Loops back end and slide wall. And just opted to tow from there, even though it wasn't that hard of a hit. Kyle Green and Devin Purog both jump into pit road as well. Top 9 still have yet to come down into the lane. And Green loops it on pit exit. And that's unfortunate. He'll tag the wall, have to reverse. Watch out for Purog as he'll back that up in good old 3-point turn fashion. And oh wow, he cannot get that car to rotate. It's finally here. Maybe. We're not sure what there he goes. I think he stalled the car. As now he'll get the 18. Oh, careful. Don't spin it out again. That would have been insult to injury as Kyle Green works back out to the racetrack. And now, I've talked about Austin Gassione a lot today, but he and Holden McGill have both been on the up and up. McGill now pressuring Gassione for 4th. Now, if I'm holding McGill, I'm thinking undercut. Come on down. I mean, get some fresh tires, then get out there and just blitz through the field. And against Ryan Dingler, and I'm actually curious here if we could see, compare him back specifically to Holden McGill here. You can see how much McGill's actually been reeling them in by at least a couple of tenths every single lap. I mean, the last 5 laps alone reeled it in from 21.1 seconds to 18.9. Critically, though, that would not be enough to take the race win by the end. I think it might be enough for a podium, maybe. That's a very big maybe, though. We still have to catch up to Colin LaFrance after getting around Gassione as well. Spencer Ray going for the undercut as Ryan Dingler will remain on the racetrack. So finally, some of the front runners starting to make their way into the lane. Check back in on Anthony Musani and Nate Brooker. Oh, Musani kicking the tail end out again. Will we see the battle for sixth more to the lane? I'm not thinking so, as they are going way too fast to make it into the pit road. Catching up to Huntley, but they're wanting to settle this battle on the racetrack. Trouble McFadden off near the Legends Oval as he's had an off-road excursion. Whoa, wow. Yeah, locked that up, went in way deep, and did the right thing, slowed it down, brought it to a stop before he got rolling, made sure he stayed out of everybody's way. And now trouble, Josh McDougall. And he was actually right behind McFadden as he rejoined. Overtakes him, and then, oh boy, back it comes around, and oh, that is a hard hit into the turn one barriers. Dingler now will work into pit road. Now this is critical. Remember, this is the battle for the lead. Track map bottom right. Dingler in green, Ray in gray. That's about to flip here as we'll focus up on Spencer Ray, who works through the final series of corners. Spencer Ray, by the way, taking fuel only. And Ryan Dingler, same story. And now it's a race out of pit road, but it looks like Ray has gapped Dingler and will retake the race lead out of pit road. Both drivers taking a fuel-only stop in the box. And that's one thing I was wondering about if we were going to be seeing that, and I'm not entirely surprised we did. Remember when the Speed Cup Series came here, well, not came here specifically, but they went out to 2 road course races, and Drew Eisenman won at both Watkins Glen and Indianapolis by taking fuel only because the tires just don't mean all that much. There's not a lot of fall off. Holden McGill breaking to the inside of Gassione, going for the lunge for second, or net P4, excuse me, as he'll break clear into the 4th spot. What will end up being the 4th spot once everything cycles through. Bit of a messy overtake as he jumped over the curb, but hey, it's a pass nonetheless. Right, so time is continuing to slowly run out as we will keep things rolling underway from the L-TAC All-Stream Media Cup Series 1. Once again, thank All-Stream Media for being the title sponsor for the season here in the L-TAC Cup Series. All-Stream Media is a small media platform specializing in photography and live streaming, mainly focused around no-prep drag racing and soon will be expanded to dirt racing, NASCAR, superbike racing, and more. Their mission is to provide smaller racing venues with the opportunity for public exposure and to help keep small-town racing circuits and also small-town drivers doing the things they love. Find out more by visiting them on their Facebook page down below. We are over halfway home, less than 20 laps to go from the Charlotte Roval. We're going to take a step back. You're watching the L-TAC All-Stream Media Cup Series from the Charlotte Roval on Green Flag TV. Welcome back to the Charlotte Roval and to the the L-TAC All-Street Media Cup Series. There we go, as Spencer Ray's retaking the lead. Conor LaFrance runs second after the pit stop window, and Ryan Dingler is back in third. The last of the drivers are waiting on to pit. Tyler Grinnell has just come down to pit road. This time by, you had just seen Josh McDougall slide off. He was not the only driver that encountered problems, as Stefan Purcell had this moment down in the turn one while we were under our break. As the Phillies Camaro just locks it up, goes in deep into turn one, right into the Tums Hartburn turn, and reverse it out and get back rolling. But for the most part, the race has dropped off in terms of the battles we've got on the race course, and as it stands, we don't have any active battles that we're looking towards. The first driver, by the way, that has taken tires is way back in 12th, which is Lauren McFadden, one lap down, which I think really goes to show just how much this race has meant in the way of tire wear, and the answer is zilch. Absolutely nothing. The tires have had more or nothing to do with this. And just to prove my point, Conor LaFrance this last time by set his fastest lap of the race of a 1:20.27. So of absolutely storming time for Conor LaFrance. That was on lap 36 that he set that time in his fastest Chevy Camaro. But we are continuing to march our way steadily through the race here tonight, as this fourth race of the season. It's been a good one. I mean, we are expecting a little bit of a drop off in attendance being a road course, as most series often do. But considering we've had 28 to 30 in the first three races, they measured only down to 25 tonight. That is still very good in terms of numbers, and I think that would be acceptable for pretty much anybody having had the attendance that we've had so far throughout the first few weeks of the season so far. Looking forward into the to the schedule coming forward. Excuse me, as I'm kind of stumbling over my words here. You look for more Rovals on the schedule, and you will find only one: the Watkins Glen International Raceway, which will be on February 2nd as the first race of the chase, 42 laps around New York's Thunder Valley. So it's a while before we return to a circuit where we are turning right, and the next track up, it's no slouch either. Darlington Raceway will be a day-to-night race, and that'll close out October. We'll pick it up in November. We'll be racing at Michigan to Milwaukee to Kansas before we get to our first break, and that will be for Thanksgiving. Brian Huntley Jr. to a bit of an off-track excursion down in the infield section of the racetrack, but looks like he's kept it out of the barriers. Wonder if we can say the same though for Stefan Purcell, as that car that hasn't looked too pleasant so far today may have just cloned the mistake he made earlier, as in way deep, and well, actually it looks like he was just letting some cars through. So I appreciate the due diligence, my fine event recorder, but maybe not a crash, just going a little bit slower than anticipated, as Spencer Ray again, he continues to lead. The closest pairing of cars anywhere on the racetrack would be Tyler Grinnell, it'd be Mark Brannigan Jr. and Nate Brooker. They sit about a second and a half separated, and they are currently what you could, I guess, quote-unquote classify as battle for the number 7 spot. Trouble McDougall now, turn one, catching everybody out today, as McDougall will go in hot. And just like he's done before, will slide the back end out. This time, though, keeps it out of the fence. Battle picking up between Purog and Green for 13th and 14th on the racetrack. As the 36 and the 18 car will continue to drive through everybody. Purog to the inside of Purcell, a lap car, and whoa boy! Green kicking the back end out as Justin Wilson makes his way back to pit road, and that'll cost him some precious tenths up to that number 36 car. All of this in the battle for the number 13 spot at the moment. Kyle Green has not had the most opportune of days. His big oops, well, not oopsie really, but his big calamity came way early in the race when Matt Sherry and he had a tangling coming together, and it'll be interesting to see what the decision will be on that one post-race when all the incidents are looked at. Devin Purog, Kyle Green will, in the meantime, remain locked in, remain in lockstep for 13 and 14 as they'll work to the back stretch. Burog so far. He's been a driver that's been good at standing his ground. Kyle Green, though, not any slouch either. Oh, bit of a lockup, and oh boy, that's huge as Lauren McFadden having it off. And you heard somebody blow the motor down in this corner. We'll get a look as McFadden goes way off the road and happened here. Well, I mean, he hopped across the curb, yeah, but he couldn't blow the motor because he got right back rolled again, so not sure what happened, but well, we know McFadden went deep. That's all there is to say about that. Kyle Green finds an opening to the inside, takes it over from Devin Burog, and Kyle Green sweeps through. Take up the number 12 spot. Just in time for us to focus back up on the fight for 4th and 5th, Holden McGill and Austin Gassion will start to duke it out with 10 laps to go. Gassion's number 5, continuing to try to hound the driver of the 21 Badger Race Machine just up the road. We're right on board for a lap or two with Austin as you take a look at what it's like to battle around the Charlotte Roval. You really get an idea of just how difficult it is to turn a lap around the Roval, and especially for that backstretch chicane, just how early you have to be jumping on the binders. Meanwhile, Mark Brannigan Jr. and Anthony Mussatti having a swap for position, and it wasn't the only one. You had McFadden breaking around Devin Burog. Burog had to slow up for turn 1, had a slowdown penalty to serve, and then Mark Brannigan Jr. making this pass on Anthony Mussatti just seconds ago is checked up again by Brian Huntley Jr. Lets the 40. Doesn't really let either of them through, but Mussatti lets the 46 through. And now Mussatti trying to chase back after Brannigan into the backstretch chicane, and that's going to get tight with Huntley. Hopping up and over the curves as Brannigan will continue to try to run down after Brian Huntley Jr. Anthony Mussatti in hot pursuit, and neither of them able to get around that 69 car, which again won't be a good feeling. Oh, above that time by Mussatti in deep. And that checks Mussatti up. He is out of the fight. As it all comes together once more down at that final chicane. Huntley has not been making any friends. He hasn't been getting out of really anybody's way so far, and you can tell that's been aggravating some of these guys as Brannigan finally finds a way to get around Huntley. While that was all going on, Justin Wilson having an oopsie-daisy through turn 1. And that allowed McDougall to overtake him for 18th. Good save from the Napa Auto Parts Camaro, though, to get that car pointing back in the right direction. Talked about Devin Purog having to give up 13th to Lauren McFadden to have to serve a slowdown penalty out of the final chicane a couple laps ago. Now, let Spencer Ray through, yes, but still chasing after McFadden. I think he may have given up too much there. Oh, he's got another slowdown to serve, in fact, which would explain why he's slowing up as much as he is. And he's still taking that 82 car around McFadden is on a good charge. About to go 2 laps down, courtesy of Spencer Ray, who continues to lead the race, and Ray approaching 6 to go. Trouble Busani spins it around in the final chicane. Rejoins the track, nothing serious. Take a look. Oh, boy. Well, Huntley just turned Musati. I mean, that's... there's no two ways about that one. I mean, he hooked him. We were looking at it head-on from the air as well. It's pretty cut and dry. Get the load back, and we'll back this one up here. Watch as we're right on board with Huntley here, and this will tell the story. Musati's going to look. He's going to try to overtake on the right-hand side. That's a fair look. And I think Huntley was already aiming for the apex and was just locking it up and didn't quite, I guess, expect Musati to be there. It's a clumsy move. That sends Musati spinning down and out. Gives Brooker back the 7th spot. Whoa! And speaking of Green, speaking of Brooker, he and Kyle Green both going off down at turn 11. What's happened here? All right, Brooker's getting by, goes straight on, and Kyle Green, I think, had target fixation, didn't even realize he had no hope of making that work, so he did the same, just went straight on. So, you know what? That's a wise move, though. If you know you're going to miss the chicane, just gas it up and go straight on, serve those slowdown penalties to the high side of 3 and 4. You try to make that chicane, you're putting yourself in a world of hurt. And we've had a few drivers already encounter that today by finding the barriers in that segment as well, or just spinning it out altogether. As Purog escapes over turn the final corner. Now he'll have to let the battle for second through. Brian Dingler's been closing in on Conde LaFrance. Now remember, Dingler and Ray were both pulling away from LaFrance before the pit stop window, so it stands to reason then that even though Dingler had a much slower stop, he would be the quickest of the two. And now we'll see what he's able to do to try to run down Conde LaFrance and overtake him for that number 2 spot in these final 5 laps. Jumping on the brakes almost as soon as they get off of NASCAR turn 2, otherwise known as turn 10. Oh boy, but a bad run through 11 and 12 allows England to reel that gap right in. Trouble for Justin Wilson in the final chicane, getting a bit unsettled as Dingler continues to run down Conde LaFrance. Take a look. Oh, coming together almost with Musati again. Oh, and they have collided a second time at the apex. Again, not entirely ideal. It's been funny how this is all coming to pass. And then Kyle Green and Brian Huntley Jr. battled it out. That was through turn 2, and then Huntley tried to fight back here into turn 3. Green immediately cut him back. Oh boy, huge battle. They make contact all on lap 45, or their lap 45, our lap 46. And that settled the battle for 11th. Although it's not settled yet, now Huntley trying to chase back after Green. The aggression's picking up in these final few laps, and I have a feeling that for at least one of these battles, we may very well see a Jimmy Johnson, Martin Truex Jr.-esque style collision in that final chicane on the last lap. or even before if this battle for 11th gets much more aggressive. Josh McDougall going to try to let Kyle Green through. Hundley will now be the next one to try to bully, or not bully, excuse me, but just fight his way by. Although Hundley's been starting to slip off, so he may have gotten some damage from that rubbing that we saw, and that may be what's slowing him down. You know who's not slowing down? Our battle for third and second. Still under a second between this pair, and like I was mentioning about the battle for the lead wouldn't be settled until they were broken up by a pit strategy. This battle isn't going to go away until that checkered flag falls. Dingler's much better through the third sector of the racetrack because that's where he's been really in the most time on LaFrance. But he reeled in 0.3 of a second alone just working down the backstretch and through the chicane. See if he closes in any more through the front stretch chicane. About another half a tenth, so the gap as ever is closing, and LaFrance going to be under some heavy fire. We're getting set for round two. Saudi sliding off-road by about 2 wheels just in front of them, and again, that's a worrying sight when you see that right in front of a big battle for position like this. But Musadi wrangles it under control, and LaFrance again having to deal with lap traffic, trying to break up the party. Josh McDougall now stands in the way, and he's going to be at the worst possible point too, into the bus stop chicane on the backstretch. Dingler taking a shallow entry behind. That will result in a wide exit and cost him a few hundredths. Spencer Ray gets set to begin the final trip around. White flag, one more lap to go from the Charlotte Roval. Into turn one, LaFrance still trying to keep Dingler at bay. Brian Huntley Jr. now stands in the way. And Huntley's had problems letting these guys let lead lap cars through before. So what will the story be for LaFrance and Dingler? Well, LaFrance finds a good place to get through in the middle of a straightaway. Dingler won't be so lucky, or will he, as Huntley gets in the way, and he's turned by LaFrance. Huntley spins it around right in front of Ryan Dingler. He'll back it up, and that breaks up the fight for the number 2 spot. Boy, that's not how I wanted to see that battle come to a close, as McFadden and Pirog are back in 13th. And I'm sorry, I'm usually one that's all for let the lap cars race, but Huntley wasn't around anybody. He should have let him go. Did that to himself. Spencer Ray now with no competition. Works out of turn 14 to the front straightaway. He has been in the top 2 ever since the start of this race, and he'll take the race win in North Carolina. LaFrance picks up second, and Dingler will be forced to settle for the number 3 spot as the rest of this field will slowly but surely start to work across the line. What an incredible race it's been, and we're not done quite yet, as you still got everybody else that's got to siphon their way through. Looking like, for the most part, though, all the battles that we had on the racetrack have since drawn to a close. We're tracking Brooke at the moment, the last car on the lead lap. What a race. It was a good race. Overall, I think that was a phenomenal race that we saw here in this one. And I think these drivers can be quite proud with what they were able to put on here in this one. Spencer Ray working the bus stop chicane. He's just working his way around to the front so he can get set to celebrate. Oh boy. Well, we got a brief look on what happened to Ryan Huntley here once again, and this was working through. He just cuts across the nose of LaFrance as LaFrance is trying to lap him and spins himself right across. There you see Dingler finds way through, and then he's going to reverse across the track right in front of McDougall as well. I mean, that is a horrendous rejoint to boot. And then Musati having one more problem, insult to injury. This was in the final chicane coming to the checkered flag. He had just been lapped, and he had to skip across the chicane, so he brought it to a stop to avoid getting a post-race penalty. But Spencer Ray burns it down, taking the race win for the Missouri native here today from the Charlotte Roval. Phenomenal win overall from everybody involved in the racing action here tonight, as we will get the chance now to take a rundown of your official post-race results from to bring back the bus stop 115 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. A wild night. We'll see Spencer Ray take the race win over Connor LaFrance. Ryan Dingler brings it up in third with Holden McGill in fourth. Austin Gascon rounds out the top five. Mark Brannigan Jr. is back in sixth with Nate Brooker in seventh. Andrew Musati is eighth. Aaron Morton and Tyler Grinnell round of the top 10, both one lap down. From there, you've got Kyle Green, Brian Huntley Jr., Laura McFadden, Devin Burog, George Rinkin in his series debut, Frank Flores, Stephen Purcell, Josh McDougall, Justin Wilson, Brad Cross, the first car that did not finish this race, along with the likes of Chris Campbell, Aaron Bradford, Barry Couple, Matt Cherry, and Grant Peterson taking a starting part, just 2 laps into the race here tonight. Again, a very wild race that we've seen for us here in this one. And we'll get the chance now to talk to everybody at the end of this crazy night that we have had, and we will of course kick things off with the driver that finishes this race in victory lane. It is Spencer Ray, who will join us up here in the broadcast booth. And well, Spencer, you take the win here today, but boy, it wasn't an easy one. Dingler did not let you breathe until the pit stop window.
Oh, yeah, I didn't expect this one. I figured that he took tires in the last stop, and I knew not to. That was the difference there.
You look forward, obviously, to how the race went as a whole. I mean, for the second half, you were able to pretty much breathe easily after lap 30 or so when you came down to pit road. We've seen that a lot, though, when you mentioned nobody taking tires on the pit stops. A lot of drivers weren't doing that today. What is about this car that just makes it so you don't have to take tires anymore, it would seem?
The cold tires are just so bad for 2 laps that the fresh tires at the end of a run don't really matter.
Looking forward, when we return to racing action, we'll be swinging over to the Darlington Raceway, a challenge in of its own right, so much so it's known as Track 2 Tough to Tame. What's going to be the plan? We move from one Carolina to the other.
Try to win again.
Fair enough. Short and sweet, like the goal. We'll hopefully be talking to you then in Victory Lane next week. Thanks for joining us, Spencer.
Yep.
Spencer Ray joining us up here in Victory Lane. We'll move on down to the we'll see if we can't find Connor LaFrance, but I don't think we'll be able to give a chat to Connor here in this one. And, in fact, we will not. He is too busy. He has got to say farewell early on. So instead, well, it looks like Ryan Dingler may be a bit preoccupied here as well as, well, unfortunately, we won't be able to talk to the rest of our podium finishers. Usually it's nice to talk to the top 3, but hey, if they're busy and got other things to do, they're busy and they got other things to do. But again, a crazy night of racing that we've had so far here tonight, and it's only going to get even wilder as we get set to roll into next week. You've got, of course, the TNGG IL Truck Series, who will be closing out their season when we go racing at the Phoenix Raceway, Homestead Miami Speedway over in Florida tomorrow night on Saturday for the season finale. And then, of course, the Pro Car Concepts Road Challenge Series closes out their season also in Florida down at Daytona on Monday night alongside the High Kite Racing League getting set to roll into their playoff season. For now, though, here from the Charlotte Roval, my name is Noel Red Bull. Thank you for joining us here tonight. You all have been great for tuning in and watching us, as always, on this beautiful Friday night. We'll see you next week when we jump from North down to South Carolina.